Welcome to In Conversation with Lawwiser. We have discussed various aspects of personal data protection. Today, we will be focusing on key principles that apply to processing of personal data and the rights that individuals have with respect to their personal data. To discuss this, we have expert with us, Mr. Rajendra Mishra. He is the EVP and General Counsel of IHCL, also the Executive Member of Indian Hotels Company Limited. Thank you, sir, for taking time out for us. Welcome on board. So, if you could first, for our audience, explain what are the key principles that apply to processing of personal data?
So, very quickly, before I answer that question, let me set the context. Internet penetration in India in early 2020 went up to 50%. That's 4% in 2007, going up to 50% in 2020. That's how much internet penetration has happened. And by 2025, it is estimated that we will have about 1 billion users of the internet. And increasingly, many more people are using internet, whether it is for business or whether it is for pleasure, for social media, etc. Therefore, today more than ever, the subject of data privacy and personal data protection has assumed increased importance. That is the whole context of what we are discussing today. In fact, in the year 2017, the Supreme Court of India, in the celebrated judgment of Swami, held that the right to privacy is a fundamental right in India. India doesn't have a comprehensive data protection law. We have certain regulations under the information technology rules which govern a subset of this, which is SPDI, or the sensitive personal data and information. So that's about all. Unlike Europe, for example, which has a GDPR, we do have, however, a personal data protection bill which was presented to Parliament, and there's a joint parliamentary committee which is currently reviewing that. So, if I may give the general principles which are applicable for processing of personal data, I think the first one is fairness and reasonableness. That is, processing of personal data has to be done in a fair and a reasonable manner, respecting the privacy of the individual. That's the first principle which is applicable. The second one is something which is extremely important. There has to be a clear, free and specific consent of the data subject to be obtained in order to process that data. And implicit in that is the right of the individual to actually withdraw that consent at any point of time. That's the second principle. And perhaps one of the most important principles on which the whole data protection regime is based. The third would be purpose limitation. What is purpose limitation? Data collected has to be for a particular purpose and therefore has to be used for that particular purpose. It is not as if I collect data for a purpose and then go on to use it for many other different purposes. Of course, it could also be used for a purpose incidental to the main purpose, but then that is something which the data subject would have anticipated in the time that he gave the consent. So these are three principles. Going on, data minimization. That is, only personal data which is necessary for the purpose for which it was collected can be retained. It can't be that it goes beyond that stated purpose. The data subject ought to be given adequate notice, and in that notice, the purpose, the processing that will happen, what sort of data will be utilized, etc. All of that has to be given, because the essence of data protection regime is to build in transparency and to give individuals increased control over their data. Because remember, at the end of the day, the data belongs to the data subject. It does not belong to the person who's processing the data or who has collected the data, right? Accuracy of the data is something which is the next principle. The data has to be accurate, it has to be correct, and therefore the data subject would always have the right to ask for a correction of the data which may have been collected. Storage limitation, you can't keep data for always, and therefore there has to be a period of time for which that data need to be stored. And I think the last principle which I may mention is about accountability, because at the end of the day, this data which is collected, somebody needs to be accountable. So the entity, the person who have dealt with that data need to be accountable to have adequate systems, security systems to ensure confidentiality, and in the event of a breach, be responsible for that. So I think that would summarize the basic principles which are applicable for processing of personal data.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for explaining these key principles that actually help our audience understand, how these principles are applied in processing their personal data. Secondly, sir, if you can also highlight what are the rights individuals have with respect to their personal data, because a lot of time people are not aware that these are the rights that exist when it comes to their personal data.
One of the most important aims of data protection law across the world is to empower individuals and to give them control over their personal data, right? So it's extremely important for people to know what rights they have in relation to processing of their personal data by an entity or people who may collect that data. And again, if I may summarize the general principles under the following heads. One is that the data subject has a right to be informed about the collection, about the use, the purpose, the extent to which the data may be retained, etc., etc. People who will have access to that data, a brief summary of what processing may have happened in respect of the data which was collected from you. So the right to be informed. Again, the emphasis is on transparency. The emphasis is on individuals having control over their data. The second would be the right to have access to data and to receive a copy of the data, because it's not as if once I have given data to somebody, to some organization, I lose control over that data, because at the end of the day, the data is mine, and therefore I would have a right of access to that data. Why would I have a right to access the data? Of course, one is that I am the owner of the data, but this leads to the next right, which is a right to ask for amendment to the data or rectification of the data. Because one of the principles is that the data has to be accurate. And in case I, as the owner of the data, notice that the data which is being maintained is incorrect, and it could be anything regarding the data which is being maintained by an organization, I have a right to ask for the rectification of the data. The next right is an important one and an interesting one. And I would like to say that is the right to be forgotten, or the right of erasure. If my personal data is with somebody or some organization, I have a right to ask that organization to delete my data in case I no longer want that data to be available with that organization for processing that. And that is what is known as the right to be forgotten. So that is the next right. And then comes the right to restrict processing. If the data is inaccurate, for example, or if the data subject realizes that his data is being processed in an unlawful manner, he has a right to restrict the processing and to ask the data processor, please do not further process this data. Of course, there are restrictions in the sense that the data subject ought to realize that the data is inaccurate or it's being used for an unlawful purpose, etc. And under those circumstances, he has that right to restrict, ask that the data is not processed, or there is a restriction imposed on that. The next one would be the right to data portability. What would that mean? That would mean that I would be, as the data subject, I would be entitled to actually ask my data from an organization to be moved to another organization in case I want to avail services. So the right to data portability. That would summarize the general principles. And if I may add two more, largely arising out of GDPR, which is one is the right to object under certain circumstances. For example, if I believe that my data is being used for direct marketing, I could have a right to object and say, please do not use my data for these purposes. And the last would be an interesting one, which is if the data, my right is related to automated decision making, including profiling. So if my data has been used for profiling and by an automatic process, by an automated decision making process, the data is getting processed, I have a right to seek for a human intervention in that, a right to put across my point of view with regard to the data and the decision with regard to that data, and challenge the decision which may arise out of automated decision. So those would be my rights as an individual. As internet penetration grows, as more and more of us start using the internet for basic daily chores, as well as increasingly for social media, I think these rights, these principles need to be known by people so that they are aware of their rights, and also, of course, by the organizations, so that the correct principles with regard to processing are applied, and individuals also are aware of their rights. And I'm sure that as we evolve as a society, increasingly using data, increasingly using the internet, social media, etc., this will happen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time out for us. This has been very helpful for our audience. Thank you.